Hey, what is up guys? So we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of new BLS support cards coming out. And first, I'm sure some of you guys have watched the video of like the BLS in action. And the deck is kind of like meh. It has a lot of things that go wrong with it. But now some more support is looking pretty good. Anyways, let's go ahead and check it out. So the first card that we're going to be checking out is the Sacred Blackluster Soldier. And if you guys want to read everything, I'll post the source to this. Although it is on Wiki, I just kind of like the pictures that they have here on the organization much better. Anyways, so the Sacred Blackluster Soldier is a light warrior that is level 8 with 3,000 attack. And so you can only use the first effect of Blackluster Soldier once per turn, which is, when this card is normal or special summon, you can target one of your light or dark banished monsters and one card your opponent controls, return the first target to the graveyard, and if you do, banish the second target. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target one level 7 or lower warrior type monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, which obviously, all of the small ones, you'll be able to add back to your hand, of course, since you have that effect that you can target one of your banished monsters and then you return it to the graveyard, you can obviously add that card back. So that's actually a really good utility, but we'll get into how good it can actually be down the line when we check out the other support. Anyways, next up we got the Awaken Gaia the Fierce Knight. So I don't know what history that BLS and Gaia have together, but it looks like they're supposed to go together. Some of you guys mentioned that when we were playing on the live stream, and I didn't know if they were actually related at all, but anyways, we're here for the effects. So anyways, it's a level 7 Dark Warrior monster that says you can only use the second effect of it once per turn. Anyways, its first effect is, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can normal summon this card without a tribute. If this card is tributed, you can special summon one Blackluster Soldier monster from your hand or graveyard. If you ritual summon a Blackluster Soldier monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard as one of the monsters required for the ritual summon. And then next up we have the Saki Kuriboh over here. It might be Kuriboh? I don't know. Knowing us in the teaching, we'll call it like Kuriboh number 5, right? Getting lazy with them names. Anyways, it's a level 1. It's got bad attack, bad defense. But anyways, if this card is tributed, you get to draw one card. If a monster you control would be destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. That's pretty cool. And going back to that first card where you get to put a card back, that is actually pretty cool that you can actually reset this card so you can make it so the monster can't be destroyed by battle once again. Next up we have Kuriboh. Looks like a hairless Kuriboh. Anyways, so when an opponent monster attacks, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, change that attack monster to defense, which is actually really good. And then if you ritual summon a monster, you can banish the card from your graveyard as one of the monsters required for the ritual summon. Again, going back to that same card that we talked about where you get to put the card back, I think that's really where you can get some free extra utility. Next up they got a field spell. It's just called Chaos Field Spell, but it's pretty much for BLS anyways. But anyways, it's a field spell that says that you can only activate one of them per turn. When this card is activated, you can add one Blackluster Soldier, Ritual Monster, or one Gaia the Fierce Knight monster from your deck to your hand. And the second effect is, each time a monster or monster is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, put one spell counter on this card for each monster sent, max 6. Once per turn, you can remove 3 spell counters from this card to add one ritual spell card from your deck to your hand, which is really, really good. Going back to that effect where it's each time a monster is from the hand or field to the graveyard, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm glad they didn't say deck, because you can maybe advance virtual art, you can do some nasty stuff, but that's pretty cool that you get like some free utility, because as soon as you activate it, you're already going minimum, neutral, and then later on you get all the other stuff is just free bonus stuff. And then next up we have the Transmigration of the Supreme Soldier, which is a trap card that says you only activate one per turn. The first effect is you get to target one Blackluster Soldier monster you control. You send it to the graveyard, and if you do spell summon a Blackluster monster with a different name from your hand, ignoring the summoning conditions. And then during your main phase, except the turn of this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish it to target one Blackluster Soldier monster in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. That's pretty cool. I like that ability just to summon another monster. Like, let's say they try to do something to your monster, like, oh, psych, swap out the monster, and then of course, with some of the monsters, you'll obviously being able to get their effects, during your opponent's turn. We'll have to see what else comes out with the deck. Anyways, next up we have Shield of the Supreme Soldier, which is a really, really good spell speed 3 counter trap card. So anyways, it is, the first effect is when a monster effect or spell or trap card that would target a monster or monsters on the field is activated while you control a BLS monster, negate the activation if you destroy it. The second effect, because that wasn't good enough, right? Pretty much anything that targets BLS you're going to be able to get rid of that. And in addition to that, if this card is in your graveyard, you can remove and play one spell counter from your side of the field. Set this card from your graveyard to your side of the field, but banish it if it leaves the field. That's really, really good. Going back to that spell counter card over here, you can see how everything works well with each other, relatively easy to understand. That card's really good. Like, being able to re-abuse this card, like, pretty much getting this card's effect once is already, like, really good. But, you know, having it twice is pretty nasty. But I think cards like Dark Hole are more relevant, but against, you know, some other decks, they're just like, no, I don't main deck anything, I just use my Castell to get rid of, you know, a problematic monster that I can't run over. You have access to this card now, and that can be pretty nasty to run against. Anyways, next up we have the Soul of the Supreme Soldier. So this one is a level 1 monster that has 0/0. Anyways, it's a warrior. It says X-Warrior. I don't know if that has anything to do with like another archetype, or if that actually is like maybe bad translation. I don't know if it counts as a BLS. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, so it says you can only use each effective Soul of the Supreme Soldier once per turn. You can send one BLS monster from your hand to the graveyard until your opponent's next end phase. This card's attack becomes 3,000. Also, its name becomes Black Luster Soldier. You can banish this card from your graveyard to add one Knight of the Beginning or Knight of the Evening Twilight from your deck to your hand. So those are the mini cards that we covered in a previous video. But that's actually pretty cool because, you know, you can send a BLS and it just has 3,000. I mean, you could 1-for-1 this card and then, I don't know, normal summon another one. But, I mean, you can only technically use the effective once per turn. But, you know, obviously later down the line, maybe you can use it. But that's actually pretty nasty. You just be like, oh, I'm just going to 1-for-1. 3,000 attack and you get to send a monster to the graveyard. Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll come out with other ones later on that they'll, you know, obviously will get more effects in the graveyard. But for the most part, it's looking to be a pretty good deck because most of the things you're already getting like free advantage with. Like, you activate this, you immediately get to add one. Then you get some counters, then you get to add more cards. So this is looking to be a pretty good deck. We'll have to see what other support comes out. But at the moment, I don't see it being like the best deck hands down, but again, we have to wait and see what other little support comes out for it. But like I said, it's looking much, much better. But you know what I want to know, guys, is I feel like this card over here, the Sacred Black Luster Soldier, has the biggest potential in the game to really do some stuff. Because I was trying, I don't know if you guys remember from the live stream, or if those of you have watched it, I was actually trying a BLS build where I was just trying to get cards in the graveyard as quickly as possible because there's a ritual card that lets you, it just special summons BLS from the graveyard ignoring its summoning condition. Now that one does negate the effects, but I'm feeling like this card over here with the effect where you get to return one of your banished monsters back into the graveyard. That effect is just so good. I'm trying to think of what cards can really, really be good with that effect. Yeah, it has to be a light or a dark. So I'm thinking like, yeah, maybe you could Necro Guard again. You can Electromagnetic Turtle. Electromagnetic Turtle, for some of you guys that don't remember that card or have never seen it because it's not yet out in the TCG, is a card that lets you put back. Well, it lets you banish it from the graveyard and then it just ends the battle phase. So it's a Necro Guard that's just overall much more superior. Plus it has 1800 defense and I believe it's level 4, so you can exceed with it and it's just overall much better. But I like to know, yeah, what combo can you guys think of that have this effect where what I'm thinking about is just cards that, you know, they get banished, you know, after they use their effect. And it doesn't have to be a light or dark banished monster, because at first when I was going over this I was like, wait, you can put this back. Not that it really has any relevance to being in the graveyard, of course, unless we have some other support that lets us reuse it. But this one, it happens to be a trap, so we can't use it with that. But what other ways can we use this? I mean, like I mentioned in the video, I mentioned the Saki Kuriboh and the Kuriboh. You can definitely use those, but I'm thinking that there's probably a better play with it. Like there's some probably obscure card that I just don't know of, where if it, you know, it goes from the graveyard, I'm sorry, if it goes from the banish zone back to the graveyard, there's some, you know, effect, whether it increases your life points, lets you draw or something. This card's looking to be pretty good. And like I said, the archetype is getting better and better, and I want to say this is like some type of armor for BLS, but it looks pretty cool. And I'm wondering what this X-Warrior actually means. I don't know if it's going to be like a new archetype for like boosting stuff, but nonetheless, it does technically become a Black Luster Soldier. So with that allows you to use some of the other cards, because you know, it becomes the card's name. So obviously, if you control it, it's kind of like the or like Prism with the Gladiator Beast. That's pretty cool. I like that, like kind of interesting game mechanics in the game. But let me know, guys. Yeah, I really want to know, how do we make this card really good? The Sai Senshi, that's how you say it, man. I actually pronounce it correct. Anyways, or the Sacred Bloodlust Soldier. I want to know how can we abuse this card. Plus, what are some good ways to abuse this? I know that like you can target 1 level slow or lower warrior monster, but I'm thinking like you can add Armageddon Knight, because Armageddon Knight lets you just like summon, dump 1 card in the grave, which, you know, obviously you have good cards to dump now into the graveyard. But yeah, how can we really abuse this card is really what I want to know. There's no tips on the wiki. Not yet, though. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. And let me know maybe your thoughts on these cards are. But more importantly, let me know how you break this card, because I want to play this. Play test it on Salvation. We'll see how we can get this card going. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Azneyes signing out.